Pro tips: learning Google's simplest syntax such as cite, or the to search for a specific sentences. What is one computer skill that you are surprised many people don't know how to do? Basic folder/file structure. There's more places than just the desktop would. Downloads /new folder 2_copy is my favorite. I had a lady at work tell me the file wasn't downloading. It was set to go to downloads without a prompt. When I got to her office, she had downloaded the same file 67 times. She was hoping you could take her to 69 times, but you never put two together. Mute themselves on Zoom calls and unmute themselves on Zoom calls. My boss's worst habit is to suddenly call on me to comment over Zoom, but then immediately start yelling "you're on mute" well before any reasonable human could have moused to the unmute button and started speaking. Now I know this might sound alarming, but has your boss ever managed to complete a captcha? A couple years ago, my mom wanted to know how to better use computers, so she went to a class. She realized she didn't belong there when the first lesson was teaching people to use a mouse and some of them just couldn't figure it out. My mother went on a computer course run by an old people's charity organization which was literally called "Where's My Stuff?" She still can't find her stuff. She can do some things in the computer just fine, but thinks you open files through Word, gets absurdly angry and upset when files that are not in fact Word documents are missing, and claims that it used to work just fine, when she at some point switched from the right way to the wrong way. I just love that there are clearly enough of her out there that they ran a course like that. I wonder what our generation's just can't fucking get it thing will be. Probably when half our brains are on the cloud or some shit. Where's my memories of last month? Grandnana, just think of blueberries, that's the trigger memory. What? Considering the level of office work required in most corporate America, you'd be surprised by the number of people that don't even have the basic understanding of simple office software. As an IT manager and having dealt with a ton of people, this and their basic inability to operate a computer, like knowing what you're trying to log into, asking for your Google password to be reset and wondering why it doesn't work for your Windows login? Yep. I once had a guy send me a picture of his desktop. I asked for screenshot of his screen as it was generally easier than asking for the IP address which our company puts on the desktop. Guy couldn't figure out how to screenshot his desktop wallpaper but figured out how to take a photo with his phone and attach it to an email. Take a screenshot, print it, draw on it with a pen, scan it, mail it. Classic. A recent phone conversation I had with my mother. Me, you just need to copy and paste it. Let me talk you through it. Her, there's no point, I can't do it. Me, it's like 2 key presses. Her, it's too complicated. Me, it'll take 5 seconds. It's easy. Her, it's easy for you. You're a computer programmer. I don't have qualifications. Me, so what are you going to do next time you need to copy and paste something? Her, I'll just put my laptop in the car and drive it over to your house and you can do it for me. Edit, thank you for the awards and the upvotes. But just to clarify, my mum isn't lonely and doesn't use things like this as an excuse to see more of me. I see her all the time. She does the same sort of thing when I'm in her house sitting next to her. It's easy for you. You're a computer programmer. I don't have qualifications. Ask her how she managed to learn to drive a car without an engineering degree. Shh, you don't want people questioning if they are really qualified to be driving. People get really defensive about their cars. Google effectively. Not just Google, but to find any meaningful information from Google. Let's say you have a computer issue, your monitor simply came unplugged from your PC. Many people might just Google "why won't my computer work" or "computer won't turn on." Sure, That may eventually lead you to checking your monitor is plugged in correctly. But I bet if you Google PC turns on but no picture or PC turns on but no screen/plug screen, you're gonna get a helpful answer much faster. And this goes for any kind of problem that you're Googling. Dishwasher not working, greater than Frigidaire Model 4X dishwasher stops after rinse cycle. You get the idea. Generally, the more granularity the better. Would like to add, being able to recognize a site on the Google result is sketchy or not, and even going as far as looking up the URL for virus threats. Pro tips: learning Google's simplest syntax such as cite, or the to search for a specific sentence. Working in phone customer support, the number of times I've had an old person do a Google search for a web address instead of going to the URL has made me realize most middle-aged and elderly have no idea what a browser or address bar are. Type site URL into the address bar. I did. The page isn't here. 9 times out of 10 they were just on a Google page and I lost a week of life expectancy. To pair with this, the agitation when I asked them to read what they typed in the URL letter by letter, which inevitably reveals a typo. Like I'm the asshole for assuming you may have mistyped instead of it being a giant conspiracy my Comcast to keep you from reaching our support page? Or when you ask them to describe what they see and they say there's nothing here. Oh, so it's a blank screen. No, it's a normal page, but they don't want to actually say what it is because they think we are psychic or some shit. Haha, I love you guys. I work in the same field and the struggle is real. How do you tell the person the most simplest processes without sounding condescending or making them feel like an idiot? Lol. The simplest functions in Excel: sums, multiplication, division. It's just not that fucking hard. People see spreadsheets and their brains just turn to mush, I guess. I've seen people take a column full of numbers in Excel and add them up manually and then type in the sum in the bottom cell. In college, I watched a guy halfway across the room frantically taking numbers from Excel, entering them into the calculator on his phone, then typed the result back into the spreadsheet. I knew how to use the sum function but didn't know, until last week, that Excel will show the total of a group of cells down at the bottom of the window by just choosing the 3 cells. I use it to check that I entered the numbers correctly, but the sum isn't necessary to use anywhere else. I was training a new 22-year/so co-worker and noticed a lot of her typing mistakes involved both the first and second letter of a sentence being capitalized. I inquired about it and her response was, sometimes I don't turn caps lock off fast enough. I was puzzled but kept it cool. I decided to watch her type a little later on, and sure enough she would hit caps lock every time she needed a uppercase letter followed by turning caps lock back off. When I told her what the shift key did, she was genuinely mind blown. She had just graduated college. I know a few people that use caps lock for capital letters. It drives me crazy and I have no clue why they choose to do it. This is the non-gamer equivalent of using WASD from your home row. Apparently caps lock to capitalize first letter is common in typing communities. Their logic is it's just 2 extra keystrokes required, which is less prone to error than holding shift at the speeds these guys go. At 200 plus WPM seems to make sense. Is your coworker 200 plus WPM? People are generally pretty computer illiterate. I'm not a tech guy whatsoever, but a basic understanding of shit will save you so much time. I used to work at a Planet Fitness and good god do the managers need basic training in computer skills. I was treated like a god for knowing how Ctrl+F worked and having a basic understanding of snipping tool for printing out QR codes. They used to really push us to sell gym essential kits, and when writing reports on how much they sold they would bring up the report and count one by one. I was a front desk guy and had to show my regional training manager that if you just press Ctrl+F and type in an individual employee's name, however many times it came up -1, it showed the employee's name 1 extra time, was how many they'd sold. This saved us hours over the course of a week. In typical manager fashion, he went ahead and took credit for this and promoted his real-life friend who was bad at their job. Fuck that place. I've never seen a company with that much incompetence at a manager-wide level. I recently had a conversation with my girlfriend's mom about QR codes. She told me that someone in her company figured out a way to make a QR code direct to their website. Earlier this month I made a video for my GF for her birthday and put a QR code in her card that directed to the video on YouTube. So I told her I did the same thing, alluding to the video for her daughter's birthday. She was like, "You know how to do that stuff?" I was like, "Yeah, it literally takes less than 30 seconds by googling QR code maker and having the web address that you want it to direct you to." Apparently the guy in the company that did it played it off like it was some big project he was working on all week and got praise from the president for it. I'll preface this by saying I work in IT. We get lots of people calling who say they don't know anything about computers. I'm fine with that as long as you reboot every night and know enough to do your job. The people that really piss me off are the people that can't plug up a computer. It's just shapes. Surely you learned that in kindergarten. Yellow rectangle goes in yellow plug, USB goes in blue rectangle plug, Ethernet goes in the one that looks like an Ethernet jack, the monitor cable goes in the trapezoid plug. It was awful when we sent 900 people home during the height of COVID. No, people can't do it. We've had to start color coding the back of the PCs. I had a lady give up at plug it into a power outlet when trying to help her set up her modem. Even after trying to explain it by describing an AC power outlet and plug, she still said it was too much for her and her husband would call back. How are you 50 plus and get overwhelmed by plugging something into a power outlet? How is this something that has never occurred in your life? You know what I think it may be? If you'd said to her, "Plug your toaster into a power outlet," she'd have had no problems and understood. But especially for us, older people, she's expecting it to be a lot more complicated and technical, so her brain isn't hearing power outlet, it's hearing outlet on modem that you can't see and don't understand, and you're worried you're going to break it if you plug it in the wrong place. It's like the brain goes blind. I hope you people know the how to like a video on YouTube. Just kidding. Ha ha ha. See, I am laughing too. Anyways, take this video to 10 likes and subscribe to indietts if you like the video. I will see you next time.